HHDG.
Peace, HHDG. We are on another episode of HHDG Media, the podcast. Big shout out to everyone tuning in right now through our YouTube channel, as well as our Facebook group, HHDG. Before we get into tonight's guest, who's definitely graced the podcast before, we got to give our shout outs to our company, our crew, family, HHDG Media Inc., which consists of Skelly Top, Rock Vader KB, T. Smith, Demir, as well as myself, Wiki. As you can see on our bottom band, you can go also tune in and check out our website, hhdgmedia.com, which has previous interviews, written interviews as well, latest music, merch, and any upcoming events that we will be showcasing. For tonight, we welcome back a very smooth delivery with his lyrics, repping Detroit. Always shows his love for hip hop and jazz music intertwining, which it really wouldn't be much hip hop without the jazz that we grown up and listened to. Again, always bringing up some relevant topics in his music, and does that with a delivery that doesn't have to be hard edged for you to understand the knowledge and the current events that he's speaking of, as well as in his own life as well. With the latest album, Groundworks, was dropped. I'm sorry. The latest album, Groundworks, that dropped earlier this month, that was on October 6th. He worked with Pimpernel Jones coming out of Portsmouth, UK, which the two of them continuously put in, how would I say it? A great creative collaboration of work, whether Pimpernel is doing some scratches, might be doing some production, or some engineering as well. And this time they just went full on and did a whole album together. And we'll definitely talk about that relevance with the album titled Groundworks. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce once again Calcei. Peace, peace.
What up, Zoe? It's good, Wiki. How you feeling?
Doing good. Good to see you again.
You too. You look good.
Thank you.
Good to see you up and about and doing your thing.
Yeah, I'm continuously feeling good, and I hope I'm inspiring others to keep pushing and stay determined, with whatever happens to you in life.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Definitely inspiration. Keep it moving.
Yep, got to.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's going on with the bucket hats? When's the last time you rocked a bucket hat?
Out here, since I'm in Cali now, it's hot. Those are hot. Like I don't like having stuff on my ears in the summer. So when I was in Detroit, they were perfect because 2/3 of the year it's cold. But then out here, I've been doing the 5-panel hats more, and then like in the winter, I'll wear hats because it's still 95 like this week I'm near Sacramento now. The last few years, it's hot as hell. So I'm like t-shirts, shorts, and 5-panel hats with like mesh on them now because they let it breathe.
So, I got you.
I might have to make a 5-panel hat song to follow up the bucket hats. So it's just hot. It's hot here all the time. I can't wait till the weather gets cool. I'm sick of it. Straight up,
Mm.
just sick of it.
Now, before we got on, you was talking about it only rains a certain amount of time over there. When it gets cooler, is that when it starts to rain?
Yeah, so the winter is the only time it rains from like January, February, maybe March, and the rest like 8, 9, sometimes 10 months out of the year, it's no rain, zero. So yeah, actually, that's what inspired one of the songs on our new album. Shout out to PJ Pimpernel Jones. I know he couldn't be here, but he's here in spirit. Uh, the I had a song there called Water H2O, and that was inspired by the constant drought here. So I like had a lyric about Lake Mead because Lake Mead was the summer before last. They were
Hmm.
worried it was gonna like the water level was so low that they were worried that they weren't gonna be able to give water that provide water to Southern California. So yeah, that was the inspiration for that track, no doubt.
Now, with the new album Groundworks, when did you and PJ start devising
So
how you? Yeah.
so like I've been working with him since the first album we worked at, that he did anything for me. I was 2016. I did an album called Recycled, and most of that was done with O'Kane from Detroit. Um, and you know how we do. We link up on Facebook and on the internets, and I I think I he listened to one of my albums, and I was like, okay, you want to collab. So he did maybe two beats on that one, and he did
Mm.
some cuts. Yeah, he did two beats, I think, on that. That was 2016. He did some cuts and scratches on one of the tracks. So since 2016, we've been regularly collabing. Um, he saved my life on the bowling league project, which we were on with Omar with DJ Archives on here. He ended up mixing and mastering the whole project. Uh, I had to kind of like redo the whole thing because the first guy didn't didn't finish it, so I had to get somebody else.
Ah.
So the last three albums, he's been exclusively the engineer for my album. So he sent me a folder of beats. I think it was might have been. I think it's been over a year now. And I'm just going through the beats. I'm like, yeah, these are dope. These are dope. And I'm like, so are we doing like an album? He's like, yeah, I thought that was what we were doing. So it started with him just giving me, just sending me a folder of beats. So I started just going through with the ones I liked, and I just started writing and knocked those out, sent it to him, and then he's my engineer too, so he started mixing and mastering. Probably so it's been a year-long process. And he's really meticulous with his mix and his engineering. And he's just gotten better over the years. He has a company called Cosmic Trigger Audio.
Hmm.
That's his main thing is his engineering. He does a lot of projects. I think he's doing with this MC Greg Green. He's an MC and singer from Brooklyn that he's working on right now. But yeah, he's a really good. Everyone, almost everyone that listens to that album, our new album, talks about how clean the sound is, and that's all him because he just keeps upgrading his equipment. His skills just get better and better. I mean, I've seen the growth through the years, and I think we have a good vibe because he really understands my voice, and
Right.
he knows how to use and the beats, and he's because of the time we spent together, he understands how to mix and master my voice so it sounds really good with his production too, because his production is it's soul based, it's boom bap, it's jazz samples, the things that I love, and we both came up with, and I'm never going to give up on that because that's just where I come from and that's what I love. So he sent we went through that, started mixing and mastering, and then the really then we collaborate on titles of the songs. He went through and did the whole the track listing and the sequencing because that's real important to him because he's a DJ too.
Hmm.
he does festivals and whatnot in the UK, um, and clubs and things like that. So then he did a couple of remixes. We had a remix of 313 The Place to Be. He did two on that. He did a remix of the joint we did. I did for Dove, Dave, rest in peace, from De La,
Yep.
and through some interludes. So I feel like we made the album. Our intention was to make it like like a Pete Rock and CL Smooth album or something, or Gangstar is what we're looking at, because it's hard to get someone to listen to an album like that nowadays. But I don't care. I want that. I like that experience for the
Yeah.
people that are willing to put in the time, because that's. I mean, it was special when you got on a Gangstar album and you heard that interlude, that primo beat. Like, oh shit, right? And you'd be like, oh, I want to hear somebody rhyme on that. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It was always so dope, and it was like it was, and you would play that again. It would be like a minute, and and then or have that little snippet at the end of a song where they just throw in a different beat as an outro. It was just so dope, and so we wanted that feel of those kind of albums, or Pete Rock production, Primo production, um, where it was a fully inclusive listening experience, right? We really spent a lot of time on the sequencing and the sound, and how the interludes came in, and the overall auditory experience. So it's an album that's supposed to be listened to all the way through. Again, if people in today's streaming age, and people usually gravitate toward one or two songs, it's hard to, but that's the intention. I like a fully immersive experience, because that's what I came up with, and I think we both did. We listened to albums from front to back.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So I want that experience. That's how I like to make albums, thematically orally. The sound needs to be, sonically. Um, I like that it's a complete project that flows. Um, so he spent a long time. So we kept adding remixes. He works with Greg Green, so he got Greg Green. Yeah, he got on a couple tracks, so we added that. He really worked hard on the mix and master. Then we took a long time on the name. The name took a long time. We went back and forth on the name, and we came up with Groundworks, because hip hop comes from the ground up,
Mhm.
and it's an organic um, genre of music, right? But it came from the ground up. It comes from from the streets, and it's spread everywhere, right? So that's why it's groundwork. Where we're still building from the ground up. Um, and a cover, actually, my son did a cover. I don't know why he doesn't like to talk about it, but it's shit so dope. But he actually he created all that. He's a graphic designer, and he took buildings from the UK and actually inverted them to make the cover. So
Ah.
he took the building, like it was, like, what do they call those in the UK? Like in Top Boy, what do they call them? The manor, right? The manor. So he took
I
like
believe
one
that's
like
right.
that, and then he twisted it and brought it up, and then he used some bones in there that are from. So that was from the UK. Then the bones that you see in the cover are from Detroit, the Detroit Institute of Arts. So he used that to uh, put that in there to represent both of where we kind of came from,
Wow.
and then so after a long long time going back and forth, that's what we came up with for the title. Um, so it was that was a year long process, the whole thing. But I mean, we both like how it came out, so we're proud of it.
That's dope. Hmm.
Yeah.
I like that little story about the artwork. Because,
Yeah.
That's one of the things that always intrigues me about any project is, you know, not just what we visually see, but how it came to be.
Yeah, no
So
doubt.
big shout out to your son.
Yeah, well, I don't know. He needs to own it. He's a really talented dude, but he kind of he needs to just to own his talent. That's what he needs to do because he's gonna go far with that.
Definitely. Everything's about visuals.
No, mm-hmm.
Now, in the process of creating the album, was there any particular jazz songs that you just listened to keep you in a mood?
Okay, so I, what I was actually listening to were I was into old folk records, like psych folk records, and I actually picked out the some of the samples that were that on like a child, the universe. Those were from and a couple others I think were like. So I actually was leaning. I was like, we should make the whole thing folk records. Like how Edon's Beauty and the Beat kind of was. He used a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of leaning toward that. He didn't want to do the whole thing like that, but I definitely picked out a few of those. So that's the vibe I was on when this is what I was listening to. A lot of late 60s, early 70s psych folk, and I like the sound and the vocal samples that came from that. Then there's the song called Pharmaceuticals. So what I was listening to,
One of my favorites.
I was also going with I was listening to, I don't know if you heard of Little Ugly Mane, but
Yes.
he did this like I think it was 2022 or 2021. Anyway, he did an album. It wasn't really rap though. It was kind of indie sort of, right? And he
Mm-hmm.
did really wild beats that sampled a bunch like a lot of like children's songs and it was almost like fairy tales, you know what I'm saying? That he sampled and I just love that album. I can't even remember the name of it now, but I like listened to the hell out of that album. And I was like, I need beats like that. So I was actually talking to different producers. I'm like, can you make a beat that sounds like this album? And I never really got anything, but that beat came out of that kind of my mind was with that Little Ugly Mane album. Kind of like a carnival sound, right? But based on like uh, kids music. So
Mm-hmm.
that was what I was listening to there. Um, what else was I listening to? I listen to a lot of different. I'm pretty real eclectic with my music taste. I just get on a vibe. So that was kind of the vibe I was on at the time. Um, yeah. So that's what I was that's what I was looking for then.
I think you are the only other person besides myself that has mentioned Lil Ugly Mane more than once.
For real? Yeah, I don't think. But he did a track. Did you ever hear that track he did? That track he did with Euro Droog and
Yeah.
was it LP? I think
That
it was
Media
LP.
Man
It might have
or
been, but
S'mores. Wait, which one was that?
it was YOD, and I think it was either LP or somebody else. But it was super dope, and he kind of killed that verse. But then when I heard that, so I was like, oh, actually, my oldest son likes him, so I was expecting when I listened to that album to hear more like rhymes, but he was singing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But the beats were just so dope. Like I was like, oh shit. And I like things that are different. I like it. I mean, I like different sounds, so I really like that album a lot. I played the hell out. That was one of my top albums. I think it was 2021 or 22. But yeah, shout out to Little Ugly Man. Yep.
Wow, I was not expecting you to mention psychedelic folk though.
Yeah, man, that was highly influential on that album for real. It was psychedelic folk is dope. I like that psychedelic stuff. Um, uh, what's Beating It Classic, another producer I work with, who I'm planning a project with. He does a lot of um, his catalog has a bunch of like rock based psych type stuff. I love that shit, and that comes from Edan with that Beauty and the Beat. If that was like all he used on that album, and that's one of my, as far as production, that's like one of my favorite albums ever. Uh, it was very to me, it was a different sound as far as the samples in hip hop, because
Hmm.
you didn't hear a lot of that, but he really did some dope psych stuff. Yep.
Yeah, and when you listen to that Beauty and Beat, it's almost in the same vein with Madlib's Beat Conductor series.
Yeah, but he's rhyming on it.
Hmm.
Yeah, V conductors. Yeah, I like that Brazilian one. Like was it Flight to Brazil or whatever? That's a dope. I like Brazilian samples too a lot. Those are those are always good. He digs in Brazil, bro. He goes there and like buys up like a whole record store in Brazil. Only if, right? How
Yeah,
dope would that be? Just fly, buy up the whole record store.
probably got the locals recommending certain things to him now as they see him so much.
Probably already bought it all. But yeah, that would be the dream right there.
Mm.
Go buy up old records and make an album off of that. The shit that no one's ever heard of.
Yep.
Open source, no doubt.
Now, aside from MCing, not everyone knows that you also are an educator.
Yep, I'm a teacher.
So definitely congratulations,
Oh, thank you.
and
Yep,
definitely been putting a lot of years now, and
25,
you
5,
25
bro.
years.
25, yeah, yeah, still going strong. I teach out here near Sacramento. I have a song on there called "The Child." Is about the kind of the treatment teachers have gotten over the last couple years, and how they're the scapegoats for the ills of society, and and the bullshit we went through during the pandemic, and how they were, tell the pundits and the powers that be want us to run back in the classroom. But then when we go in and they tell us the kids can't live without teachers, but then we go in the classroom and they don't. If kids aren't doing as well, standardized tests and whatnot, then it's our fault there too. So what is it? Do you want teachers to have kids in the classroom and do their job, or do you not want them to be in school? What is it? What it? What is it? That's what I'm saying. What you need, make up your mind. So that a lot of shit's been exposed with the opinion of teachers, and the most kids, the majority of kids, I think still like 90% of kids in the US still go to public schools. So if you're
Mhm.
gonna denigrate teachers in public schools, what you're not just hurting Republicans or you're hurting everybody. So if like by telling teachers that they're grooming kids or teaching a gay agenda or all this bullshit that they put out there, all you're doing is making people, the best people, not want to teach, and
Mhm.
and that's hurting everybody's kids. So you're just you're destroying a profession, and I see it because you don't see a lot. Not many young people are really going into teaching anymore, and I can understand it. So that song was definitely about the politics and the perception around the teaching profession. And Greg Green was on that too.
Yep.
Yeah,
Did I think he did the last verse if I remember correctly.
yeah, he did. Hmm.
So aside from that experience that you were explaining and you know trying to pull people in certain ways with their agendas throughout those 25 years, what's one of the most significant things that you would tell a would-be educator?
A would-be educator. Um, I would tell them that you need to prepare for the reality of what you're doing, not the um, not the vision you have in your head of what you're going to be as a teacher. That you need to um, have a lot of resiliency. It's not going to be easy when you start, and you have to learn from your mistakes, and you have to you know you have to get a mind frame as a teacher that it's on you. That's what I always say, it's on you. You're not Don't depend on people. Don't think that you're going to get this that the administration is going to run to help you, or other teachers. Because if you start thinking all that, you have to learn to be resilient and depend on yourself, and find resources for your kids. And I would also say that you have to you have to learn to be you have to learn to build a rapport with your students. um, you also need to truly love the profession. Like, you need to love these kids, and you need to want to go there every day to make a difference in their lives, and realize that what you're doing, even on the bad days, is important, and you're affecting young lives. And these kids, even if they maybe if even if they're acting up having behavioral issues, they really need you and depend on you. And you are a true example, um, and maybe one of the only people that's consistent in their lives. um, so if you're going into it, go into it for the right reason, that you're not there to be friends with them. You're not be there to, you know, you're not going to be making a lot of money at first, and maybe not ever. So if you really want to do it for the right reasons, and have the expectations, that it's on you. You need to develop good strategies. You need to develop relationships with those kids. And if it's not something you really care about in your heart, I don't think you should do it, because you can really mess up a kid's life if you by not being a good role model and a good steady presence. Because it's not an easy job.
Mhm.
And but you got to keep in mind, you are really affecting those children deeply. So
It's
do it for the
important.
right reasons. Do it
Yeah,
for the right reasons.
very important because you have to think about it on a daily basis. Your immediate family and your teachers are the two key people, individuals that you're gonna see majority of the time.
Yep, no doubt.
So that influence is gonna be there.
Yeah, that's something that's evolved throughout my teaching career. Is you really have to put yourself to the side, that you are there for, you are really you're there for to really mold these children, to help these children that are coming to you every day, and they're really looking up to you. Especially, I'm teach elementary school, but regardless, they internalize everything you say,
Hmm.
your actions. They watch you, and it's really important that you know present a good role model to them, um, and learn that you build relationships with them, um, to get them to succeed. So yeah, it's no joke. It's not an easy job, but yeah, I've definitely written a few songs over the years about teaching.
Hmm. And as a teacher, I know it's pretty hard. Sometimes, like you just said, you got to put yourself to the side and understand your influence of what you're doing with children that are coming to their of age in different levels.
Mhm.
And I, I I applaud y'all because it's not easy
No.
in many ways. And then you also got to remember you have so many different personalities in one classroom, and you're
Yeah.
just one person.
Hmm. Oh yeah. And there's different levels, different personalities, different disabilities, different ethnicities, different languages. It's like a true melting pot. But I like that's what I actually like more. I like working in an environment like that. That's not um, a homogenous. I like to have a mix, and I think that's how we learn to be around each other and um, function with empathy. Um, so I definitely have worked in areas with you know a lot of different ethnicities and cultures and needs and ability levels. And actually, the reason I'm even an MC now is because of teaching. Because I don't even know. Did I say this? I don't know if we talked about this last time. Maybe I can't even remember because I know I talked about this on one podcast I was on. But when I was in Detroit teaching, like 14 years ago, 15, I don't know. Anyway, I had run into my partner back in the day, Fluent. He's a poet, MC out of Detroit. And if you listen to Slum Village or Dwelle and heard of Cafe Mahogany, that was a poetry spot back in 97, 97. I used to go all the time because I worked at a spot called Spectacles, which is still around. It's a clothing store, and Fluent used to host the poetry night, and people, all the like Elzai was always up there. He was like a teenager, younger than probably like 15 when I'd go. Um, Nick Speed, I was cool with him. Five Ella, all of them would come through. I've seen Slum Village perform at Cafe one time. Um, Common came through with the Roots. They were freestyling up there, and because they were there to to hang out at JD's place, Jay Dilla's place to because people would come through Detroit just to go to his house to get beats. Anyway, so I ran into Fluent, and I was like, "Can you come through my class to do poetry?" And he came in and he did a little thing. I think I was teaching third grade at the time, and then he was like, "Yo, you need to get this dude Sheefy McFly to come through. He's like young cat, but he's dope." I'm like, "All right, cool." So I had him come to my class, and it turned into every Friday he would come in and he'd bring his girlfriend and a couple other MCs that he was friends with, and we ended up making music with the kids in my class and a couple tracks, and I helped them write the lyrics, and they'd work with them every Friday to help them learn the tracks and perform, and we ended up performing around the city. Uh, and then I would take them out to lunch there, and I'd be like kind of for helping out. I'd take them out to lunch, and I'm really into sneakers, so I was like, I'm gonna make an EP about sneakers. They're like, yo, do it, because if you don't, I'm gonna do it. Because Sheefy had a showcase at this place called Bob's Classic Kicks on Woodward near the Wayne State campus in Detroit. It was a showcase, so all the local groups, Clear Steel Forces did it. A minus was on there, would perform. Anyone, I think Danny Brown's done it. All the that was in like 2009, and so he hosted that. And I was like, I'm gonna do that. So I started writing the sneaker EP called Laces In Tongues Out, and Chiefy started producing it, and then somebody else did it. I had no idea what the fuck I was doing because I had never been on the mic, but I did it. And then I started performing around the city. I got a little like a group together, the two that we started doing um, like theme nights, hip hop theme nights, and I'd host it with like DJ Sakari. We'd have Apollo Brown would came through. So DJ Soko would be like perform at those with DJ and DJ Bet. Um, but then I it was just too much work with the family and all that. it took up the whole weekend. Jeez, I don't know how people have a family, a job, and do music full time performance. So I kind of made the decision there. I'm like, I gotta. What am I? How do I want to do this hip hop thing? And I was like, I like
Right.
recording and writing. So that's all I stuck with. I just did recorded and wrote, and I just never looked back from there. I thought I would do this little sneaker EP and be done, but that's 15 years ago now, and I've 11 albums later. You know what I mean? So yeah, shout out to Sheefy and Fluent because I wouldn't be an MC without them. I don't think, or my third grade class at Bagley Elementary. So yeah, so without teaching, I wouldn't be an MC because my all back in Detroit, my all my peoples used to be like, they had groups, they were in the studio, they'd be like, yo, you need to come rhyme. I'm like, fuck that, I'm not gonna do that. I just like listening to stuff. They're like, no, come on, come to the studio. I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that. And it's funny, all those years later, I ended up actually getting into it. Um, yeah, like there's this crew that my crew is like this crew called Unplugged Roots. They made a couple albums, and that's why I used to hang out with a lot. And they were like cool with house shoes and all them, but never did anything until years later. It's a teaching. So yep, that's my whole the whole thing ties into teaching. That's also why I bring music into class too. I think that music education is some bullshit nowadays. In the back, and
Almost non-existent.
when we were kids, there was instrumental music, there was music class. Whether we liked it or not, it was there. Everyone had it. Didn't
Yep.
matter where you were. Now that they don't have that anymore. There's no mandatory music class. There's no mandatory uh, instrumental or just music class you go to a couple times a week. But I do a lot with I play a lot of different genres of music with my kids, and then we do like Freestyle Friday. On Friday, the kids can sing karaoke and dance, and they have a dance off, and I play a lot. During Black History Month, I do a whole history of hip hop with them and
Mhm.
teach about freestyling and all that good stuff, and teach them about the origins of hip hop and how it ties into different genres of music and how you can and where the roots are, the groundworks, should we say, and where it all comes from. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's tied together, the hip hop and education, and I bring music and expression into the classroom because the kids need it. So
Not easy to intertwine, but it's perfect how you do that. And you started off the album with the 1 + 1 = 2.
yeah, 1 + 1 = 2. So that's like an old school joint, right? It's the kind of the chant thing with the MC and the DJ.
Hmm.
Because I don't know. I mean, I'm not definitely not a hater who's gonna be like, oh, fuck the new music. Don't listen to because there's tons of stuff I like now. I would say that it's probably obviously rooted in things I came up with, but I like your Drew. I love Homeboy Sandman. I like uh, Nakami. A ton of Quelle Chris. I think these are people doing extremely creative, interesting things. Um, God Fahim, I like a lot of their stuff. Like I love a lot of their stuff, and I like a lot of the direction that hip hop is in right now. But what I miss, and I think I miss like the DJ being more part of the culture of hip hop. I feel like a lot of the stuff now is it's like two verses and I'm out, and it's what I'm saying, and a lot of it's not hook based either, which is cool. I mean, it's cool that's happening. But I think that it's also we can't forget about where it came from, the DJ.
Yeah.
the MC, and the hook is an integral part because that's what got the crowd hype, and that's where actually the song structure originated, is the MC, when the MC was getting the crowd hype, and that was basically the hook, and it's almost like the lyrical structure of songs started with the hook, with the DJ, with the MC, you know, warming up the crowd or getting the crowd hype. So as much as I like a lot of stuff now, I do miss,
Vital.
yeah, I do miss, tracks that are more thematic or based on around what I guess we call traditional hip hop. I don't know, whatever. But so that's what this album was. There's a lot of hooks on there. There's a lot of cuts. There's a lot of scratches. There's interludes, and that one, the intro was definitely a throwback. I don't think the whole album is not based on all like a old school sound or whatever. But that track,
No, it doesn't. No.
so I think we delved into a lot of different beats and styles, and I tried to vary my cadence and um, didn't stick with the same style because the the beats are pretty varied. I think the tempos, the BPMs are different, so I try to match that with the lyrics, um, and then like I said, that second track, the H2O track, that's based on droughts. That dope shit song was most. That's like my favorite track. I love dope. That dope shit track is it was like my favorite because it's kind of like based on, it's just doing what I do every day, which
Mm.
is go outside and water the garden. You know what I mean, and enjoy the weather, sit on the patio. Think about the dope shit in my life. Um, Try to stay positive, because life's not that bad. Try not to dwell in the negative shit that'll bring you down.
Right. Yeah.
Um, I just love that beat too. That beats hype. Um, yeah, so that one, and then that track that we did, the Dove track, that his loss really affected me. I mean, obviously I don't know the guy, I don't know the man, never met him, but I feel like I grew up with De La, and they were like one of the first groups that I that kind of made me fall in love with hip hop.
Hmm.
It was Me, Myself, and I, because I'd heard it, I would hear it on the radio or see it on TV. But I had a line in there that I wasn't feeling the whole cassette yet. I don't think I wasn't ready at that point. I was a young teenager. I wasn't ready to be like to really take in that whole thing. I didn't really appreciate it. But after I think I got into PE after that.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So then I went. Then the first one and I put this a line in there too. The first album that I really got into with De La was De La Soul's Dead, and those skits had me bugging out, right? I'd laugh at it, biddies in the BK Lounge, and butt crust and or whatever he's used to, whatever he said in that dick snot, and so I used to listen to the hell out of that. Had it in the Walkman all the time, the Walkman on the cassette, yeah. So that really got me into it. And then Balloon, Mind State, that's my favorite De La album. Um, and that's where I think that Balloon Mind State and then Midnight and then Low End Theory, that's really what made me love jazz too, because I started getting into jazz because of that and seeking it out. Because I remember my parents would play the jazz on WDT in Detroit. I was like, man, this shit sucks. Like when I was a little kid. But then after listening to that, I'm like, oh no, I need to hear like this is Grant Green right here. This is a Thelonious Monk. So And I think that's what I try to teach my kids too, is how beautiful hip hop is because of all the genres it introduces you to. But then I went back to 3 Feet High, and I love that. I love that album too now, and I think that is that album and Paul's Boutique is kind of like the 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 format, the blueprint for everyone who comes later who wants to use different samples and cuts and a pastiche of sounds and rhythms and different and samples from various media and and I think and what's cool now is you can do that and not really worried about getting sued because who's gonna you only getting sued if you're actually pushing real numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Once you get that attention.
you gotta push. You gotta really be moving units to get sued nowadays because there's so
Yeah.
much. So when I hear people, they're like putting out some low. I'm like, what, you really worried about getting sued for sampling? I don't. You're clearing samples, okay? I guess you're gonna blow, man. I guess, but you gotta really push some numbers to worry about that nowadays. It's funny how that's come full circle, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Because of streaming and the availability, because people say, "Oh, I hate this, so much streaming, so much out there." But yeah, but it actually lets you be really creative. You can really delve into a lot of shit because what are you worried about? It's not on a major label. You don't have to. You can do what you want
Yeah.
unless it blows, right? But if it blows and you're making millions, which how many people do that? Then you'll be able to clear those samples. So, but yeah, that art is it has to stay alive. The art of sampling and using old records and
Absolutely. Yeah.
different sounds and
Anyway.
genre music to make new music. Again, groundworks. That's the groundworks, bro. That's where it comes from. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't want it to ever leave. I don't want that to ever go away, and I don't think it ever will because every generation is going to rediscover that music, and I don't think it's not going to stop. I know people, people complain, blah 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 blah, but it's not going away because I guarantee every generation's going to rediscover just like they are now. They're, just like MF Doom blew up unfortunately after he died, he blew up everywhere. I know little kids who know all his his lyrics now. You know what I'm saying? Like 7, 11, 12 year olds because he blew up on social media like TikTok and all that. Because and people are one of my son's friends just bought Low End Theory. He didn't like the album, so he gave me the vinyl. I'm like, I'll take it. Read that. He didn't like it, but what I'm saying, but it's there, so you know what I mean. And
Yeah.
everybody with their Tribe Called Quest T-shirt. So it's all it'll be around, and the
Definitely
art
comes around. Yeah.
it'll still be there.
Now you bringing up De La Soul. I got that vibe when I listened to the remix of 313 in the Place to Be.
Mm, yeah, yeah. It's fun. Okay. That's an interesting. So that story. So PJ does a RPM challenge every year. I don't know if you've ever seen his RPM challenge, but
Mm-hmm.
it's you create a record in February, like a whole every day you do a beat and then put it out at the end of the month. So he was sending me some of his RPM beats, and I picked one. I was like, oh shit, this is dope. So I recorded the original 313 on that beat, but he's like, I already licensed that. I can't. It's not gonna work. They won't even let you put it out on that. I'm like, damn. So he took that and he just used my vocal and made the beat off of the original beat. Then he made the two remixes, right? Um, Off of that one. So I think I still have the beat I rhymed out, but it still came out dope. So yeah, the original 313 was on a beat he did on his RPM, which I think the plan was we were gonna put it on the RPM, but I just didn't get to the lab in time to get it on there because he was like, what do you call it? He said so the RPM he did the last one was it was based on numbers. What I forgot the term he used, but anyway, it was based on numerical patterns. And if you listen to the 313 song, it's all numbers throughout the all my rhymes have to do with something to do with numbers. Like that's why it's 313. And I talk about my area code. I grew up in 248 and 810, and living at I went to school near right off of 8 Mile, but I wasn't in the D. I could see the D from across the schoolyard gate because I was right on 8 Mile, and across the street was I was in Ferndale, which is right across the street from Detroit. Um, yeah, so that was all based on numbers. So it was going to be, if I would have got it out, maybe I would have been on his RPM, I think, but it didn't work out that way. But it still came out dope. Yeah, so that's the 313. I think most people. I think a lot. I think if you're into hip hop, 313 area code. Plus, everybody's seen 8 Mile. Well, they talk about 313 in there too. So, pretty famous area code. Um, so yeah, that's kind of a little interesting story there. Um, what else was on there? Yeah. So and back to Dove though. So yeah, that really affected me. That made it hit me harder than anybody who passed recently, because I just love De La. De La's. I mean, I'm sure you can probably hear it in my music that Native Tongues is biggest influence on me. Um, and what I like too about De La is none of their they never did lyrical gimmicks. They weren't trying to they're not double timing. They're not doing rhyming backwards. They're not doing tricks, but they're still intricate and they're thought provoking. And from even when they were so young, like on Balloon Mind State, you could hear the life experience in their rhymes, and they let that come out when most people weren't doing that. They weren't bragging and boasting. It was like, this is shit I'm really going
That's
through.
us, yeah.
And I was like, damn. And at the time, 'cause they're a few years older than me, but like going back and if you listen to that, and I said that on one of my rhymes, I said the world worn weariness I could detect. Now I can going back and you hear it going through family things and the breakup of the native tongues at the time, and it's like these dudes were introspective as hell at 21 years old, and they still are, and they were able to stay together all that time, and nobody does that. 30 years.
Yeah,
So they're highly, and they're just and True Boy is like, to me, that dude is just like he's top five for me without a doubt. If not number one, uh, those verses that the verses that give you like send tingles through your arms. That's what his that's uh, I am I be. His verse on there is like my favorite verse of all time. It's it's just ridiculous. So yeah, I could listen. I listen to that every time it gets me. And then yeah, so it was rough. It was rough. I didn't. It was too soon. They had more to do, and they just got their streamer rights and their all their music back,
finally, yeah.
and he couldn't. And he couldn't. I hope his family enjoys the fruits of it because it's too bad that he couldn't. But I guess he had been suffering for a while with the illness. But it's too bad to see him go.
Yeah,
I'm glad they're still doing it though.
absolutely. Mm.
And then go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say, and it was great how they set it up to have the website with the physical merch around the same time as
Yeah,
everything went digital.
no doubt. I'm glad to see that for sure. Um, yeah. So in that pharmaceuticals song, I it's so my niece on my wife's side is a pharmacist, right? And when you don't know like how the nitty gritty is in a job until you actually talk to somebody who does it. And so she works in the Bay, and the shit that that you learn about these people with like who get these all these their kids are on medic all their kids are medicated. they're medicated. They come in there like fiends, you know what I mean? And they need their medication, like they need their medication. I'm like,
Mhm.
and we're so, and you all you want to hear about is illegal illicit drugs, or somebody addicted to crack or meth or whatever. And these people are addicted. It's just that
It's
they're
illegal.
right. It's legal, and they're wealthy, and they're white, or they're wealthy. Period. And I'm like, it's completely skewed. These people are these drug companies are making billions off of death, and getting fat pockets with no problem.
Yeah.
And it's we as a society are becoming more and more addicted to pharmaceuticals, and it's not a good thing. And these
Too much.
kids,
Too
these
much dependency.
yeah, and then when you start your kids young, I mean, I'm not saying that there isn't a need at times, but the younger you start, the sooner the habit starts. So
Mhm.
I think it's always good to really, really think and really understand what you're putting into your body, um, before you start taking it and become dependent, just like anything else. So yeah, those stories are wild when you hear
Yeah.
about the pharmacy working at CVS and all that. This is no different than the pusher on the corner.
Mm-hmm.
No different, man. It is no different. Their people are fiending in there, and they want their fix. So it's just crazy how we convince ourselves in America what's right and wrong, and what deserves incarceration, and the decimation of communities, and what's fine, that you can have an affluent community with a drug pusher right down the corner, and nobody gives a fuck. Um, but we got people serving time in jail for pushing drugs that are no less lethal, and it's wild. It's
Yeah.
wild.
I mean, if you look at the communities, like you're saying, you're having a low income communities where everything is out and open to see. Go in an upper class neighborhood, same type of drug problems, but now it's behind closed doors.
Yep. Yep. And now with the legality, you can get fentanyl and all that. You don't even, that's that's it's a narcotic. I mean, that is really a strong drug. I mean, I also see
Mhm.
it. My wife's a nurse, so she sees all the she works in the ICU, so she gets to see all the overdoses and all the and one of the biggest ones is alcohol. That's the worst kind of overdose, and withdrawal. It's terrible. So, and that's the one that's illegal, right? So yeah, that song was definitely inspired by real life conversations I have, and now having people that I'm close to or part of my family that work in um, the medical field. So
Yeah.
that was
Wow.
definitely inspired by that. And then yeah, and then I also had to turn off the news track, which is I think that was a form of withdrawal for me, because during during Trump's time, I think we were also obsessed with the news and watching it all the time, and every move he made, and that just shit got really unhealthy. and I and I really I stopped. I'm like, I can't keep my life can't revolve around what's happening with these politicians and life, and we're on here hating each other, and taking sides on everything, and whatever chosen media site we use, that's the talking points that we're going to spout. And it's not healthy. It's not healthy at all.
Nope.
You got to come up. You got to find ways to get your information without becoming a demagogue, or hating everything and everyone that doesn't agree completely with what you say
Mm-hmm.
or the way you say it. and we just can't function like that. I don't think.
Just starting to follow the propaganda that's being fed into your eyes.
Right, right. I mean, I don't. I'm not saying watch things, but watch everything. Pay attention to everything because there's a narrative there, but it's in between the lines. You can't get it from one place. You
Yeah.
just
No.
and that becomes unhealthy. So, like, yeah, that's definitely that's based on I had to turn off CNN, MSNBC, Fox, all that shit because it's not good. It's just it wasn't making my life any better. It was making
Yeah.
my stress level higher, my anxiety level higher, and it's the whole design of the media that
Hmm.
it's just to get clicks and get you foment outrage, and it's not a positive part of. It's not helping. It's not helping.
No.
Not furthering the cause of humanity.
Yeah. There was a point in my life, probably like well over a decade ago, I started watching BBC World News more than anything else. And
Yeah,
then in recent years, I started watching Reuters more often because they mix a lot more positive things going on mixed with the typical, things that go negative things that are happening throughout the world.
yeah. I try to listen. I mean, I listen to NPR or something, but
Hmm.
I read a lot of Twitter. I like to, but I just don't watch the cable shit anymore. I'm done.
Yeah.
I do it. I can't. I just it's not. It's really not healthy. I was on there all the time.
Yeah.
My wife and I were, like CNN. Oh, what's the hell? What's Trump doing now? Like, well, in the long run, what? Unfortunately, it's not that much different than what's going on now under Biden. So
Yeah.
that's unfortunate. We're still out there dropping bombs on people and selling.
Hmm.
The war machine is being fed, and I don't know. I don't. That's definitely something Uh, I don't like to see. I don't want people. I want peace, and I don't think the media is helping that. So
No, never has. It's all about the ratings. Mm.
true, true, true. Word.
So, with speaking of the media and what most of us use, let's talk about the track My Phone.
Yeah, that's funny because I think that's my worst addiction is my phone, for real. Because older we get, I cut out alcohol is pretty much done. I cut out caffeine because that shit's not good for me. Because the older you get, the worse you feel everything more.
Comes back. Hmm.
That damn phone, right? All those notifications you got to check. And it's an addiction, no doubt. Talk about the endorphin rush. It's just that right next to you. You know what I mean? On the nightstand, when you get up, you got to check it. Like that's your boot thing. It's yeah, it's not a good addiction. It's
Yeah.
and I love like I love I'm I'm like stats are kind of I love statistics, so I'm always checking the shit like statistics and things like that, and same thing with teaching or sports. I'm always looking at statistics, my kids' data, and
Enjoy it. Yeah.
everything. I enjoy it, but it's like too much. So when you have the phone, you look up all this. Oh, I can look up these facts. I can look up these. I'm constantly looking up. You know. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that addiction's going anywhere though, unless I throw it away. I don't know, man. I think all of us are kind of in the same boat with that one. But if you can if you're good at that life phone balance, then it's salute because that's hard for me. That's for sure. I gave up beer, which I love, and I gave up coffee, which I love. Um, but I can my phone. I don't know. That's a tough one. So I kind of wrote a love song to it, a love hate song. But yeah, man. Um,
Can't give up everything, but I mean,
you can't give up everything. Yeah. So and then of course I had that podcaster rapper song on there, which is more of a tongue in cheek song. You know what I'm saying? It's because I think we've gone from everyone's a rapper to everyone's a podcaster,
mhm.
and then we have the podcaster rappers. We got our we got our Joe Buttons, and we got our Norries, and we got our Open Mike Eagle, and
Yep.
Talib Kweli's, who are probably doing more with podcasting at this point than they are with their rap careers. So I just think it's there was just kind of like kind of riffing off the fact that we can't quite decide, are we a rapper or are we a podcaster? Or are we both? Can we do a podcast about rapping? Can we rap about podcasting? Can we be on, you know what I'm saying? Like we're on each other's podcast talking about rapping, and then we're rapping about being on a podcast talking about rapping. And I was like, we could rap backwards about our podcast. And, and so, I guess it's everybody's out here doing their thing, and I think that's cool. But it's just funny because it used to be like, oh man, everybody's a rapper, and then all of a sudden, oh, everybody's a podcaster. Everybody got a podcast.
Mhm.
So it's just a cultural phenomenon. And I was talking about being on what had happened was, which is actually one of probably my favorite podcasts. I love that podcast with Open Mike Eagle because he has great guests. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, he does.
He's got Questlove this season, so he just started that the second episode. So I'm
Yeah,
checking that. I mean, and I love Drink Champs. I love that shit. It's wild as hell, but it's just funny how you got like how that happened, like the whole phenomenon of rappers and podcasters and how they intersected, and how the career, like literally Joe Budden does not, like Nori does not rap at all anymore.
at
Like
all.
he does podcasting. Period. Like he didn't even want to rap. He just was. That's
I'm
crazy.
just gonna
Like,
move straight
yeah,
over to the
Joe
podcast.
Budden does not rap. He does podcast. Like it's wild. I mean, it's interesting how this phenomenon has happened, and people have moved into different media like that. Um, but I'm definitely not one. You do. Everyone should do their thing. I do not like to discourage people from any creative outlets. I don't like that. If you want to put out an album, I think go put out an album. You want to make a podcast, do a podcast. I just think it's funny that everybody. It's just kind of funny to talk about how everybody does it, but do it because why not? Why
Yeah,
not
why not?
do it? What else do you have to do? You want to go to work every fucking day and just work and not have a creative outlet? Everybody needs a creative outlet. It's like it's would I like to blow up and be like and be a millionaire off of music? Hell yeah. Would you like to have a podcast and just do podcasting all day? Yeah, of course you would. But what are you're gonna quit every time because that's what makes life rich is having creative outlets to do things. So I would
Yeah,
never tell somebody, oh, you shouldn't do this because there's too many. No, do your podcast and
yeah,
make your music and be creative. And that's what makes life rich because you
yeah.
need those things and it
Maintain
makes
that fan base.
yeah, and it makes your relation and to me it makes your relationships with other people better because you're able to have a creative outlet. Um, that's what creating to me. That's one of the biggest things I love about making music is the collaborations I've made, the friendships I've made, and the fact that I'm taking something. We're taking something that was nothing, and we just made something completely original that no one else has ever made. It may be based on something that's happened in the past, but it's never that Groundworks album. No matter what you say, it is no one's ever made Groundworks before. That is an original thoughts. Those
Mhm.
are my original experiences, and that's original music. So it's yeah, I would never discourage somebody to sit there and say don't podcast, don't write. Do it, do that. You have the opportunity to put your to put something out there that's never been done. I would say it's good to be original, no doubt. Try to do
Mhm.
a thing that is different. I think that's good, but yeah, I mean, why not? We people complain forever that they didn't have opportunity to do stuff. Well, now everybody got the opportunity.
Yeah, do it.
It's
Yeah,
not easy to get through all the all the millions that are doing it. It's not easy to get noticed all the time, but hey, do your thing.
find your niche and then
Do
just go with it.
your
Yeah,
thing. So I mean, um, like so your peoples that got with what are the DITCD people are. It looks like I'm gonna be putting that out, the album out on their label. Um, so it looks like
so
that's
so
gonna be happening. It looks that's pretty dope on CD. So that's something to look forward to coming up. Um, so I hope people go out and cop the physical. It seems like people are demanding physical copies more now, and I had the other project with Omar with DJ Archives came out on Chopped Heron record.
hmm
Uh, I'm still trying to get that vinyl release, so that's my hope is that I can get uh, you know a distribution company to put one of my albums or one of my compilations or joint albums out on vinyl. Um,
I'll definitely see if I can reach out to some people about that as well.
no doubt that'd be dope, and I appreciate everything you do to promote and support because a lot, that's it's not easy to find people that actually will put in time for someone else. So I do really appreciate that, and
Respect on that, definitely.
because yeah, I mean we're all out here in the same boat.
hmm
hmm That's what I that's what I said in that song. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. See how that does. Put it out there as soon as we get it all finalized, and got to do a little more artwork for the inside, the track listing, and so it shouldn't take too long though. Should be up
Sounds
on
good.
our
Dope.
site. Everything works out correct, well. And there are still physicals of the bowling league CD available at Chop Heron Records.
Yep. I
So
got the link right there for everyone to see. Go click on that.
go buy those. And yeah, I hope you get a chance to talk to Chris, PJ Pimpernel Jones, because he's definitely a dope musician, and he deserves all the shine he can get because he's been doing it for a long time,
Definitely, definitely.
and he's a talented dude.
Yeah,
Um,
we already spoken. We're already in the works for
oh,
that. Yep.
that's word. Yeah, make that happen. Uh, he's a good dude, man. I appreciate that he is meticulous with his craft. You know what I mean? And he takes it seriously. And I think we work real well together. And I think we built a good partnership over the years.
Definitely
Um,
have.
so yeah, look for that. Hopefully that'll be on CD soon. And also look for I got to. I'm my goal now is I'm doing joint producer, one producer and myself joint albums. So the next one that's really pretty much done is with O'Kane.
Okay. There
Right,
you go.
he's doing all the beats. I hope he sees this because I'm just waiting on a couple of verses from him because he's an MC and a producer, but he's real busy with his family and his job. But I wanted to come. I wanted to come out with him on the mic too because dude can flow. Like he's a fucking beast, and he's got to get back on the mic. So I already recorded. I think it's like 10 tracks and maybe an intro, an interlude. It's already recorded. I'm just waiting for him. We'll see how that goes. But it'll. I already got the cover. The cover is. You know who I got the cover from? T. Elliott Mansa. The artist. So he's
Uh-huh.
that's the art I got. So that's
Wow.
we are these circles we work in, right? You know what I mean? WIA 2.0 hip hop discussion group.
There
We
you
get,
go.
you know what I mean? So um,
Wow.
got that already. The cover art I just got, and then I'm just ready. Maybe wait a month or a couple months, and hopefully that'll be ready to go. And planning another joint with Beatnik Classics. I'm trying to start recording that in November.
Lay some tracks on the Denny's
Yeah,
album.
Annie's and Bowling League. He got tracks on there too.
Yep.
Yeah, quite a few. So I'm gonna do one with him. Um, uh, then the next one, hopefully, I got tracks already from Mon Placebo, um, who I've worked with in the past. So planning that one, and then who knows what after that. But we'll just keep him busy. I try to write when I'm not teaching, and I have
Mm-hmm.
breaks. I just knock out. I write a lot. I write and write and write, and then I try to go. I kind of have a system at this point. Um, I just write, and I go to the studio, and I do about 3 hour block, and knock out a whole album. So that's kind of my goal at this point. Do like every break, a new album. Um, Keep those creative juices flowing, and see what happens. So I mean, I'm just happy I'm making like new connections, right? Um, what La and MC Till, that's they run DITCD, right? Yeah, so that's cool to see that they pretty much just started that in the last year, right? 2000, I
Yeah,
think,
it's recent. Yep.
which is dope. Like it's just that's inspiring to see other people that will put in their time, to big up the artists that they like and put things out, and that's really dope because it's not easy to get people to invest even a little bit of time and energy in people. So I do appreciate anyone who takes the time to you know listen and invest in whatever they can do to put out my music, my art, and whoever I'm collaborating with.
Definitely. Yeah, because MC Till, aside from that, he also does production and podcasting as well,
Uh,
and
yeah, he's busy. He got
writing books as
he has
well. Yeah.
books too, right?
Yes, the books too. Yep.
It's
I believe
great.
it's 4 volumes now. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, he works. He works.
Hmm.
We got all these people out here doing good work. Groundworks, right?
Yep.
Keep it
There it
moving
is.
ground up. There's a
Yep.
lot of people still. There's a lot of people invested in the culture, I think, and doing a lot and doing a lot.
We have to keep it going. Yeah. Hmm.
It's good to see, and I'm gonna keep doing it. I think I might have my younger son who's getting into videos. I might have him do a video for me one of these days because he's starting to get into that. We
That'd
got
be
to
perfect. Yep.
we'll see what happens, but that might be something in the future. Um, we'll see. We'll see.
Okay. Are you currently rocking a pair of New Balance?
Yeah, that's all I wear now. That's like I, that's funny because I stopped wearing those for a long time because I was like, oh, there's some like political stuff going on with them, and but then they're just making some fly stuff now. So that's like I used to really be a sneakerhead, and the wife didn't like it too much because I was spending a lot of dough on sneakers. So I kind of quit, but now it's like I'm only doing New Balance because I don't want to. I'm like, at least if I stick to one, maybe I won't buy
Go
more. I won't
too
go
much.
buy too many. So I was rocking a 15 made in England 1500s today. So those I just got those. There's an outlet near us, and we went there the other weekend. And I'm like, oh my, and they actually had good stuff. Like they had collabs there. I was like, what? They have 1500s. They don't have 1500s in the U.S. almost anywhere.
Wow.
I was impressed. I didn't think they'd have anything. So this could be a bad thing though, because I'm gonna end up being at
And
the.
go back there.
I mean, I'll go back, but yeah, I like. I actually, on that laces and tongues out, I did a song about New Balance sneakers. um, yeah, so I definitely, yeah, I sport New Balance sneakers to avoid a narrow path for sure. Shout out to Fife, rest in peace. Yep.
Man, everything we spoke about, aside from the album, has been from the ground up.
No
From
doubt.
your teaching, your early MCing.
No, it's true. It all starts somewhere. That's why we're all. Anytime you're doing anything, like especially creative wise, it's groundworks because you got to build it from. And it's just you're building it and building on what you did in the past, and but the thing is, every time you start something new, it's you got to do the same groundwork. It's starting all over from scratch.
Like that same foundation, yeah.
Yeah, so you can't when there's a new project or new art or new whatever. It's always you're always coming from the ground up, and that's the beauty of it. Again, like I said, is you're doing something that no one else has done, and you're and I like things to come to come to fruition, that you actually see this, and that
Hmm.
it's like a finished product. That's kind of like I like that in teaching too, when the kids work collaboratively and build something together and present it, and it's a beautiful thing to see because we're building relationships and collaborations, and sharing your art and your motivations and your ideas is how I think that's how we thrive as humans. You know what I mean? And without that, we get stagnant, and it makes life dull. So we need that. We need those connections in our lives, um, and the opportunities to work with like-minded people and work toward a goal and see it come to fruition. So that's one thing I love. That's like one of the things I really love about music, about hip hop, about um, and about the internet. Like I've had so many opportunities to meet. I met you. I've never met you in person, bro. I've only met you. I talked to you online, but I have met people that we know. When I went from hip hop discussion group, I met
Yeah.
Ed as Skeletop. He was at my house not so long ago. I met him in Oakland before. We went hooked up in Oakland before.
That's
I
dope.
met Damon and Simone and all them in Maryland when I went to Paul's house. These are all people that we know, and these are I've made really lasting friendships just from being online
Hmm.
partnerships, and so
Genuine. Yep.
so hopefully one day I'll be out in your neck of the woods, or you'll be in mine.
Oh, man, yeah. Hopefully.
I haven't been
Hopefully.
in New York since I was like a kid, like a little kid. So I need to get out there and uh, and
That's
experience
funny.
that.
That's the same for me in California. I think I was about 5 or 6 years old.
A word, yeah.
Yeah.
I really want. I need to go to New York for real. And the whole Northeast actually. I've been to like Philly, and that was about it.
Mm.
I haven't been above there. I haven't been to the whole Northeast. Haven't been there. I need to go to, Boston, and I need to see all that those Northeast states. So I've been everywhere around the Midwest, and then Florida. Unfortunately, I lived there for 3 years. Um, but
Unfortunately.
yeah, unfortunately, which I did meet cool people, and I did meet Steve Mom Placebo. We actually hooked up on record shopping out there, and we've had a good relationship with music since then. He has a good following on social media with his reviews and his beats. He puts a lot of energy into hip hop, man.
Hmm.
That's what I'm saying. Is these people? There's people really that really live the culture of hip hop, and I like that a lot. I like to see that. It's dope, and
So
it is. It's really dope because it's a beautiful, beautiful culture. It's a beautiful art form, and I just I like to. I really enjoy working with people that love it and appreciate it, and you want to see it thrive and keep going. Um, yeah,
that's the
like
beauty of it.
like you, yeah. People like a hip hop discussion group, the people who are in there. Um, yeah, it's a good thing.
Hmm. My whole thing that I continue to enjoy is just the ability to network behind the scenes and
Yeah,
then just see things come to reality.
no doubt. That's what's up. That's what, and you spend you. I know you got a family, you got a job, and you spend your time doing that, and it can't be easy because you got to work. You got to find the time. You got to fit it in
Yep.
your schedule. So, and that takes support. I mean, I can say my wife does not dig my music, but I'm gonna keep doing it because she's like, well, she's Nigerian. She's a straight hustler. She's like, you got to make, you're not making enough money off it, and this and that. I'm like, yo, I'm doing what I can. I'm like, you don't want you really don't want you'd be complaining if I was on the road doing shows and shit like that too. So you should be happy that I'm doing studio
That's
work,
yeah.
just releasing stuff. So you don't want that life either. Because I experienced just a little bit of that, and I was like, nope, can't do it. Not with a
Can't do
family.
it.
You got to have a really, really understanding significant other to live that life and work and have a family and go on the road and all that.
Right.
So I'm like, you should be happy with that. I'm just doing more studio work and putting stuff out, uh, that way because it could be a lot more.
Mm.
But yeah, um, it's cool that obviously you get support for what you love and doing. So that's what's up. And uh, you know, I hope your kids get like hip hop too, because my kids they're not really hip hop heads, not big ones, but that's okay because they love music.
Yeah. See,
My,
I
my
was gonna
son
say,
plays guitar, and my oldest son loves all types of genres of music. So and they enjoy music. So
yeah, same here. There's diverse with the music that they listen to.
yeah, but
So I definitely appreciate that. And
yep,
then they start asking me questions about certain artists at times, or other times I hear them playing something like, "Oh, you've been listening to that? Okay."
yeah. I'm never discouraged that. I'm like, you want to listen to death metal? Go ahead, do it. You want to listen to this? Go ahead. I'm not going to discourage. You just discover and explore.
Yep,
But
absolutely.
yeah, I'm gonna have to get off of here in a minute.
It's all good.
It's been
We
a
definitely
hour and
established
a
the
half.
album.
Yep. So you is right. It's Groundworks is on it's on all streaming platforms. It's on Bandcamp. I always appreciate the Bandcamp purchases. It looks like it's going to be on CD soon, physical. So the link will be coming.
Shout out to
Uh,
DITCD.
yep, no doubt. And we'll see what else happens in the future. We'll see what the future holds, and I will keep you abreast on all the next projects. And my hope is that we can get a Okang on here too, because you need to talk to him. Dude is dope. Dude is dope. Like, dude is dope. Like,
Link them up. Definitely link them up.
I'm gonna see if, but he's mad busy, so
I understand.
I'm gonna try to lock him down though. I was just happy I went to Detroit over the summer. I got to hang out with him. I haven't seen him in a while. We just sat. I played the album for him, and he played beats. So he played me his beats that he's been had sitting. So I'm like, nah, we gotta do something. Gotta do something. So I'm happy. At least it's gonna be an album. We'll see if I can get him to get his verses on there. But there will be an album. It's gonna be there.
There you go. It's dope. Yeah. Whenever we'll try and link up and see if our schedules work out. So he could be on here.
No doubt. I'll see what he can do. I'll see what
Definitely.
he can do. But yeah, I appreciate you, man. And
Absolutely.
you continue to be healthy and recover well. And
Thank you.
And hopefully we can link up in person someday with the rest of the fam.
Yeah. Have another meet and greet.
Yeah, but that's like, at this point, that meet and greet it was hard enough in Detroit, but now we're talking couple thousand miles, 2,000 miles. I got to come all the way from the West Coast. But if we we do end up in the DMV area.
Mm-hmm.
We have people out there, so
There's people over there.
yeah. So I'll see, or maybe next time, in Detroit, can fly over or something, or we'll
I still need to get to Detroit.
You haven't been to Detroit?
I haven't been to Detroit yet.
You gotta go to Detroit. That's my heart right there. Gotta go to Detroit.
Yeah.
That would be dope if you could come sometime and I could take you around, hang out, get Leaf too, and we could I'll go around
that would be dope. Yeah.
Tour the city. Yeah, my parents still live in my parents still live in the city there, so I gotta get that back there at least once a year.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep.
Now you already let us know where we can go and support Groundworks. Also know where if they need to contact you and anyone else needs a shout out as always, like PJ, who did a phenomenal job on here. And once again, engineering is key.
Yes. You had and that's it having someone who understands your voice, and your delivery and how to how to mix and master is so important to your music. That's sonically. So like I said, and that's props to him big time. Is everybody are like, dang, like I might work with this dude Rick. He's an MC, and I'm probably gonna work with him on a project coming up. He's like, man, this is so clean. Like everybody, this is so clean. Like, dang, I feel like I've heard other beat makers, other producers, like, this is intimidating. It's so clean. It's so mixed so well. So that's a tribute to him. Like he was particular. We took a long time on this project. So we put a lot, we put a lot into it, a lot of talking, a lot of discussions, a lot of going back and forth with what about this? How's this? Nah, I don't like that. So we did it was a long process, and we put a lot into it, and regardless of whatever happens with it, we like the project and we think it stands up. It's a good project, and we're proud of it. And I appreciate the hard work he put in, the time he put in, and the care that he put in.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really ask for much more than that. That somebody who wants to work and make something to the best of their ability and not half step. So Shout out to him, to Chris. Shout out to Pimpin' Out Jones. That's the dude right there.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And again, shout out to you. Appreciate everything that you've done too. And yeah, man. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's always welcome. Appreciate the music you continue to put out, and appreciate you giving us a breakdown and explaining the new album Groundworks.
Yeah, no doubt. Thanks again for having me on.
Absolutely.
All right,
On
man.
behalf of our HHDG Media Crew, we're gonna say peace.
Peace.